This is the Lakin Chronicles Road to Recovery podcast with addiction recovery specialist Dr. Greg Lakin. Real people, real stories, real addiction, and real recovery journeys. The road to recovery starts now.
Welcome. This is our next episode of Lakin Chronicles, where we talk to people with good success stories, basically. Somebody that's dealt with addiction and dealt successfully with it. And today we got Justin. Thank you, Justin. I appreciate it so much.
I appreciate you.
You got a great story, and you've come a long way. And really, let's just start with the beginning. Like, you got started. I mean, you were an athlete in high school.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
a wrestler, and
mm-hmm. Yeah, I started wrestling when I was about 4 years old, and went all the way up until I was 16. And even between then, I played football, basketball, baseball, just a little bit of everything. And it just goes to show it can happen to anybody. Like, it doesn't matter if you're an athlete, if you're the weird kid, if you're the cool kid. Like, it doesn't matter.
Well put. That's exactly true. So then, what transpired actually that got you started taking pain pills?
I think it was more or less just my own personal issues that I didn't know how to cope with. Like, my mom's an alcoholic, as I told you before.
Right.
So it's the issues I had to deal with personally with that, I didn't really know what to do with. And whenever I was in high school, I had hurt my shoulder so bad I couldn't wrestle anymore.
Right.
So after that, I didn't have an outlet because the only thing I knew how to do was sports or something physical, and I couldn't really do it. So whenever I got all that shoulder stuff done, I started getting painkillers from the doctor, and that kind of reserved to my painkiller addiction because it was my escape, I guess. And then that just went a downward spiral from there.
So so many athletes, really, your identity, your self-worth and stuff was related to wrestling or whatever sport. All of a sudden you can't do it anymore. And
because it's whenever you're that athlete, that's what you're known for. And then whenever that's kind of stripped away, what are you supposed to be known for then? So it's kind of just a weird gray area where, one, you just try to find yourself, and two, what do you do now? So I was in that gray period and I didn't know what to do. And so it kind of, like I said, just spiraled down from there.
So after shoulder surgery and then low back pain entered in there somewhere as well.
Oh, yeah.
You got your first taste of Lord Percocet.
Mm-hmm.
And what did that do for you?
It was just calming, instead of just thinking negative, it was just a period where I was flatlined. I wasn't super sad, I wasn't super happy, but it was just, I felt good for once, and it was a good feeling, so I just kept doing it. And it was just definitely something I went to the doctor at first, and then that started going from, I would find my family friends that had some, and then friends that had some, and then that just went down to where I was affiliating with gangs that had some, and just...
so you did what you had to do because you...
Yep.
And like many young males, I mean, you got a tolerance quick, I'm assuming. So it went from what to what?
It went from the simple, Percocet 5s to doing fentanyl at one point. It's quick. The first time I was doing them, I was doing 5 milligram Percocets, and then a week later, if I consistently kept doing them, I was doing 4 a day, and then that 4 a day went to 20, then 50, then I was doing fentanyl, and I was doing 20 of those a day. And
when you say fentanyl, you're talking about the pressed pills.
Yeah,
basically.
The fake pressed pills, those things, that's not a joke. Those, because I would take 50 Percocets a day and I would feel nothing, and I would take one of those fake pills, or even a quarter at some, when I first started, and I would feel like I had just taken a whole prescription of Perc 15s or something like that. Those things, it hit you like a brick wall, and then your tolerance starts building up from there, and it's just, like I said, it's a never-ending story of spiraling and getting your tolerance so high to where you're doing enough to probably kill an elephant. It's not good at all.
Right, and we have had 20% increase in overdose deaths just during this COVID time.
Oh yeah,
and coupled with the fentanyl pressed pills or the fentanyl and heroin or whatever it is, you don't know what you're getting.
Oh yeah, because I just had a friend 3.5 weeks ago that passed away from ODing from the fentanyl pills. He was a good kid in high school, had everything going for him, and then out of high school started hanging around with the wrong people and doing all the wrong stuff, and he went to jail, and then out of jail he was doing really good, and then next thing you know, I see on Facebook, like, rest in peace, blah, blah, blah. And it's just weird because that's not even the only friend. Like, I've had multiple friends, like, close friends that I would call family that have passed away. Like, it's not even so much of, like, people know what they're getting. It's people that don't know what they're getting, and they're like, oh, it'll be cheaper. Oh, I only have to do one of them instead of 10 of them, like, whatever. And they simply just OD and die. Like, it's too simple now.
Isn't that crazy? I look at the obituary, and it used to be young males, young females, whatever, and it was usually from a motor vehicle accident.
Oh, yeah.
And now by far the majority are overdose deaths.
Yeah.
And usually because of fentanyl, I mean, they don't realize how potent this manufactured elephant drug that get mixed. And the guys mixing it and doing these pressed pills, they're not rocket scientists by any means. They're they don't. And so you'll have hot spots over here and cold spots over there. So you get these pills, and one doesn't hardly work at all, and the next one kills you. Or
because that's the thing. I've watched documentaries about them and stuff. Like, you'll have a guy that used to just sell heroin in bulk or whatever, and then he got like a package of fentanyl, and he could sell that for $100,000, and it's only an ounce of it compared to like 10 pounds of heroin that would be $100,000 or whatever. And whenever they like press them or whatever, they're just throwing it in there. They're not making sure it's at this specific dosage, at this specific time, at this specific whatever, and they're just throwing it in there. So like, like you said, that you can get one pill that you could do whatever with and it won't do a thing to you, and the next thing you know, you're doing another one and you could be dead in 2 minutes. Like, it's just weird how that all works nowadays.
And I've talked to people where they actually get these pressed pills off the street thinking at first that they're oxycodone 30s, oxycodone 15s. They think they're actually being safe because they know what they're getting. In reality, they have no clue what they're getting.
Because that's like one of my friends, that's exactly how he passed away. He just got shoulder surgery, actually. Like, his labrum got done, and he took all his pills that he got from the doctor, and the next thing you know, he was looking for them. And he even asked me, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do that for you. Like, even at my lowest of lows, I didn't like doing it for anybody. Like, it was a weird thing. But, like, and then a week later, I found out that, like, he had found somebody with him. They had told him that they were, like, Perk 15s or whatever, and they were actually the fake ones. And he had snorted one of them and OD'd and died. And it can be a simple split decision that changes your life forever, or takes your life forever. So it's definitely something that I want to make sure people aren't playing with now, because just other people, it's like a selfish kind of thing. Like, people don't really, like, the dealers care about money. They don't care about people. Obviously, that's a thing, but it's getting worse nowadays with new stuff coming out and new people doing them that have no idea what they're doing. So just a weird thing.
It's not like the old days where they weren't so potent, they weren't so deadly, and so now there's no room for error. And then, like you said, your friend, sometimes they go to inpatient or they'll go to jail or whatever, and they'll come back out and they'll do the same dose that they were doing before,
and think their tolerance is that high, and then it just kills them. Because even like, I remember the first time I relapsed, that's how it was. Like, I thought that I could do the same thing that I was doing, and it was not the case. Like, your tolerance, it goes up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and it's just not the smart thing to do. Pills in general aren't a smart thing to do, but like, you have kids that, like you just said, like, think they have the same tolerance with anything, and then are sober for 3 months, and they go back in it thinking that it's all going to be okay or whatever, and the next thing you know, it's a life-changing decision. So
Yeah, and how brutal it must be for the families of your friends, or, the town. I mean, you're a small town guy, and the whole town is affected when you lose somebody that has so much potential, so much future.
Yeah, and I think that's like one of the like most important things about, like, with addiction and all that stuff. Like, it's not so much like how it affects you, it's how it affects, like, the people around you. Because I think, like, the biggest thing whenever I got sober was, like, one, I had to, like, the first thing I needed to do was do it for me, but two, I needed to do it for my family. Like, I have nephews I want to be around for the rest of my life. Like, I want to teach them everything that I know. Like, I have my brothers and sisters I want to be around, and just make memories with them, and most of all, like my dad, like got to make him proud. And that entire time I was doing the complete opposite. So like now that like I'm sober and doing all the things that I'm doing, like it feels really good because now I can have him like look at me and be like, oh, I'm proud of you. Like, and that's like the most important thing for sure, is just making the people around me proud and making them like not kind of look at me and be like, damn, I wish I could have known what he could have done or anything like that. So it's cool kind of like filling that potential that they all had for me, or that idea that they had in their head that I would be. So it's cool being able to do that now, because back then, like, you had no, like, you don't have any hope. Like, you're sitting in your room at 2 a.m, you wake up, you're sweating your ass off, you're shaking, you're throwing up, everything's exiting your body, like, you can't think, you can't breathe, you can't do anything, and then the only thing you're thinking about is doing more pills. You're not thinking about getting clean, and that's like one of the biggest issues. It's just about fixing it temporarily, not for the long run. And it's just weird how you can go through those times and still want to do them and everything, but you just got to live through it once, I think.
Isn't that interesting? I mean, that is so common, where people that are in that addictive state, they all they do is they think of pills as relief rather than, you know, the thing that got them there in the first place. Yeah. And I like the fact that you're able to say now, you know, when you felt like you let your family down or you have regrets or something, no, you can change all that, and you have changed all that, and now they're as proud as can be of you.
Oh yeah, and like one thing is, like, I know, like, even with my mom being an addict and everything, like, I think one important thing to know for anybody is, like, it's never too late. Like, you can be 19 when you first start and try to get sober at 20. Like, that's not too late. You could be 86 years old and want to get clean. And it's not too late. Like, if you want to live a life, live a life. Don't think you're trapped, because you're not. It's just all about how bad you want it and how hard you're going to work for it. Because I thought, like, there was times where, like, I was sitting there and I was like, I have no hope whatsoever. Like, I have nothing, like, left in the tank. Like, I thought, like, 100% sure, and I was okay with it, that I was going to die an addict, and that was it. Because, like, one, I was too afraid to, like, see what it would be like trying to get clean, especially with those fentanyl pills, because you don't hear about that stuff that much right now just because it's so new. Like, you don't hear about how bad the withdrawals are or whatever. And so, like, that was my biggest thing. I was scared of how hard it would be, scared of learning everything again. Literally, like, whenever you get clean, you're going to learn how to walk again, talk again, work again, eat again, all these things, because you're so used to being on a substance the entire time. And it's just a weird thing. Like I said, like, you just got to relearn everything. And it's just definitely weird.
So in some ways, it's almost like picking up a new sport. You got to really dedicate yourself to it.
Oh, yeah.
You got to realize that there's hard work involved, but that it's worth it on the other side. So was there some event or something that finally said, hey, I'm going to go to treatment now. I'm going to go get help. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, so the first time I went sober, I had 2 friends that I mainly hung out with and did all my stuff with. And it kind of got to the point where, like, we would, like, get mad at each other when we were hanging out because, like, somebody wouldn't have enough money, or somebody would steal from somebody, or this and that. And, like, we were all really, really close. So it got to the point where we all sat down, kind of had, like, a meeting, and we're like, okay, we all need to get sober, and we all need to do it at the same time, because if I go and you 2 don't, I'm going to be hanging around you guys, and I'm not going to get clean. If you 2 go and I don't, you guys aren't going to get clean. So, like, we all need to go at the same time. We all need to work together, and we all need to get our shit together. And so we all talked about it, and we ended up all going, and that was in February 2018. And we all did good for a pretty long time, and then slowly but surely, one of us knocked down, the 2 of us knocked down, then 3 of us knocked down, and then we kind of, like, started hanging out together, doing the bad stuff again. And then after a while, all of us kind of split ways, and it was kind of like fighting for ourselves then, instead of fighting for, like, each other. And so, like, and I think if I would have kept hanging around them and doing all that stuff, I don't think I would have ever got clean. But whenever we all kind of split up, like, I had moved back home because, 1, I didn't have a job, I didn't have anything.
Didn't have any money anymore.
Yeah, and my lease went up.
Yeah.
And 2, my grandparents had moved in with my dad, and they really needed somebody to take care of him because my dad works all the time, so it was my stepmom, and like I wasn't working, but my dad, I was kind of, at that point I was behind my dad's back, like doing them again, because like, that's just like, he's like the kryptonite, like he was the scariest person to tell. He was like, if I tell him, like, it's just one of those things, even though like he's the most accepting, understanding, like incredible like dad I could ever have, but like, that's exactly why I was so scared to like tell him. But I ended up moving back home, and I was taking care of my grandparents every day. Like I would take them to their doctor's appointments. We would make food together. We'd do all these things. And then the morning of December 26th, it was the day after Christmas, like I had woken up because like one of my dogs had walked on me or something. And I went to the bathroom, and as soon as I got out of the bathroom, like I had heard somebody like yell, like I don't remember like what they were yelling, but I heard somebody yell, and I was like, oh, one of my grandparents fell, like I'll just walk upstairs. So I was like slowly walking, but not like running or anything. And as soon as I got to my stairs, like my stepmom, I saw her run in the room, and she started yelling my name. So I had ran upstairs and went in the room, and there was my grandpa. He was basically like having a heart attack laying on his bed. So I had to give him CPR. I had to do all these chest compressions. I had to pick him up off the bed and pull him on the ground. Like I had to do all that stuff. And then the paramedics came, and then an hour later he was pronounced dead. Like it was a split-second thing. And after that, that was kind of like the point where I was like, I stared death right in the face. I had to give him CPR. I had to do all this stuff. I will never let anybody do that to me. I will never be that person they have to give CPR to, or they have to do all those things to. And he definitely like pushed me. Like after he died, like I always thought about him, and I was always like, now he can really look at me 24/7. Like I got to do something now. And then right then, I remember it was really weird because around like early January, it was like a few weeks later, like I was doing him really, really hard after he passed away. But like 2 weeks after, I was just had that like thought. I was like, yeah, he's looking at me, like I got to get clean. Like I got to do it for me, him, my family, everything. So I tried once, and I went like a day, and then I was like, I can't do this. And then like a week later, or 2 weeks later, it was January 23rd, I was like, okay, this is it. Like, I went, bought my last batch. I bought like 20 fentanyl pills, and it was like, I don't remember exactly what day it was. It was like a Friday or something. I don't really remember, but I was like, okay, I'm going to do these last 20 or whatever, and then I'm going to get clean. And then I did like the last 20, and then I remember waking up on the 23rd, and I was like, okay, like I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And then I was like cool for a little bit, and then that night, like I just remember like it started like getting like the cold sweats, kind of like it was very like slight cold sweats, but like I could tell something was off because like I knew something was coming, like a big tsunami full of pain, suffering, and everything was coming. And then I fell asleep, and then I remember waking up that next day, and I mean like I had gray sheets just like this color, and they were like dark gray from all the sweat. Like I mean, like, you could see my body imprint on my bed, and I was like, I don't know what the hell is going on right now. So, like, I got up and tried to go to the bathroom, and I couldn't even walk to the bathroom. Like, I had to crawl to the bathroom, and I got in there, and I was dripping sweat. Like, I was shaking. I was throwing, like, I was going to the bathroom in the toilet, and I was also throwing up in the bathtub at the same time. And then I suffer from bad anxiety and depression issues, and I started having a real bad panic attack. So I called my dad, and I told him, I was like, hey man, like, I don't know what's going on, but I need to go to the ER. And like, I say it like that now, but whenever it was happening, like, I could barely talk. And like, he was like, no, you're okay. Like, you're just having a panic attack. I'll talk you through it. So like, he stayed on the phone with me for like 20-30 minutes until like I went back to my room and I felt okay. And I fell asleep. And then I woke up, same thing, and did like just the same process again. And that happened for about like 3 days, because I remember the last day of me feeling like I was dying was when Kobe Bryant passed away, because that was January 26th. And I was like, because I remember waking up that morning and I felt like okay. And then I saw like a bunch of things on my phone saying Kobe Bryant died, and I spent like that entire morning like watching videos and this and that, and then whenever I got done, I was like, I don't know why, but like I feel okay now, like I feel all right, like this isn't bad. And then just from there, that's whenever I was like, okay, this is like my rebuild period, like I'm gonna relearn everything, I'm gonna do everything, I don't give a crap how hard it is, like I don't care, like it's either do or die, and I'm not gonna die, like I have that choice right now, and I've already went 3 days, so I'm not going back. Because I, like, truly, whenever I went through that first period of, like, withdrawals, I was like, that was a big reason why I was like, I can't ever do that again. Like, that stuff was so bad, like, mentally, physically, like, I can't even explain how bad those were. And I'm glad, like, I went through that, because that's, like, just another thing on the list why I'll never do them again. And it's like, that's the physical reason on top of the million mental reasons why I'll never do it again. But that's probably, I think the main reason why, the event that happened was my grandpa passing away, because he was very important in my life, and he had taught me a lot of things, and I just didn't want to, like, not make him proud, or, like, not do anything for him, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe his passing and you actually witnessing it made you think just how precious life is, and how it's not to, I don't know, throw it away. It's not, But then again, I also appreciate the fact that you powered through withdrawals, and I'm sure the more potent the opioid, the more severe the withdrawals are, but you powered through, and now you're on the other side of it, looking back, and instead of being afraid of withdrawals, people going through withdrawals, I mean, that keeps them addicted oftentimes. You pulled it off.
Yeah.
You pulled it off, and so.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like, because that's the biggest thing, is just, your body is an incredible thing, and if you want to do something with it, you can. Like, I understand, like, we have to take, like, addicts have to take medicine, that way they aren't going through those withdrawals every day, and that's just a thing you have to do. But, like, if you want to get clean and you want to get sober, it's so important to know, like, like I said, your body is incredible, and you can do it. Like, whenever you think you're at the lowest of lows, like, you still got a lot of room to go. Like, you can definitely bounce back from that. And I truly, that was, like, the worst day of my life, going through that one thing. And, like, I've had the flu and stuff since then, and I'm like, whenever I get the flu now, I'm like, this ain't nothing, dude. Like, it is nothing to me. Like, I've been through a lot of stuff. So, like I said, it's just, like, one of those, like, I think chapters in my life, or, like, bookmarks in my life, where if I didn't go through that, like, I wouldn't be, like, where I am today. And I think that's very important, especially, like, with the line of work I do now, because I do social work.
Yeah.
And so I can talk to kids that have, like, addiction issues, whether that's either them personally having addiction issues, or, like, their family or whatever, because, like, I've been through addiction personally, and I've been through it, like, with a family member. So, like, I can help them either find coping mechanisms, or just help them realize, like, that's not it. Like, that's not, like, just because you were brought up one certain way, that's not how you have to be for the rest of your life. And, like, because that's how I thought I was. Like, I thought that I was just going to be that, like, junkie, POS, mama problem boy, like, a bunch of stuff. And, like, life is a weird thing where you can always rewrite what you want to rewrite, and do what you want to do. Yeah. So I think that's really important in knowing, like, if you want to do anything, you can do it. Like, that sounds so cliche, but it's so true. Like,
your experiences have made you an incredible at what you do now. And so tell people, like, what you're doing now, because it's a great story.
So in July of 2020, I started working at the Withdrawal Children's Home. And that job, like, I remember I was looking at jobs whenever, like, I kind of was getting my stuff together and everything, and I remember I was talking to my girlfriend. I was like, I just want to, like, do something that I could at least give back a little bit, or, like, do something that, like, is not only rewarding for them, but rewarding for me as well. And she kept sending me, like, links to job applications and everything, and then she sent me one from the children's home, and she was like, read the description, like, I think you would really, really love that. And so I applied and everything. Like, I applied on Indeed, and then I applied, like, on their website, because I was like, I have to get this job. And I remember, like, after I applied, like, I had that, like, little glimpse of hope. Like, I was like, man, that would be a really cool job. And I kept telling my family, my friends, my family friends, everything. I was like, they were all asking about it. And then I had my interview, and then they said they would get back to me in a few days. And I remember those few days, I was freaking out. I was like, man, I better get this job. Like, I really want this job. Then I got the call, and then I was at the mall with my girlfriend when I found out. And I got the call, and they were like, yeah, you got the job, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was so excited. Like, I had a smile on my face for, like, 14 hours straight. Like, I couldn't get out of it. And then I remember when I first started working there, I was kind of like, it was really, really, like, kind of, it's hard to explain. Basically, like, you go there and you're basically supposed to be like their mother, brother, dad, cousin, aunt, uncle. You're supposed to be basically their everything, because those kids there don't have anything.
Right.
Like, they go there and either their family doesn't want anything to do with them, or they don't want anything to do with their family, or they don't have family. Like, there's a million different reasons why they're there. So, like, each kid individually, you have to, like, cater yourself to them and, like, remold yourself. That way you can help them. And that job is definitely one of the most rewarding things, because, like, you'll see a kid, like, I can't say his name, let's just go with, like, Brad. His name's Brad, and whenever I got there, he spent 24 hours a day in his room. He didn't talk to anybody, he didn't do anything, like, he just spent his time in his room. The only times you would see him is when he'd go to the bathroom. And now he is out of his room. He talks to all the kids. He talks to the staff. He's always like, hey, can I show you something? Hey, can I show you something? Hey, can I tell you something? Hey, can I tell you something? And it's cool seeing, like, how you can transform a kid from being so, like, isolated and didn't want anything to do with anybody, because all he's known is people betraying him.
Trust.
Yeah, it's just, like, trust and, like, I don't even want to say, like, all the physical things they had to go through. Like, it's terrible. And so it's nice having a kid, like, break out of that shell and finally, like, even if it's, like, a glimpse of trust, like, that means a million times more than anything. Like, so that job, like I said, is definitely really rewarding on, like, the whole, just kind of, like, help building a kid up and showing them, like, there's more to life than what God or whatever dealt you. Like, God gives you those things that way you can show you, like, how strong you truly are. Like, he wouldn't give you those things if you were weak. Like, and that's what one thing, like, I keep with me as well. Like, I had to go through all those things because I knew I could, if that makes sense. Like, I cut myself short a lot and was like, oh, you're not strong enough to do that, like, or you're not this, or you're not that. And it was really cool, like, getting it all said and done, like, knowing that, like, okay, yeah, I'm pretty strong, I guess. And so, like, I try to instill that in those kids, and, like, I'm not shy to tell my story whatsoever. Like, if they have any questions, I'll ask them, like, or if they have any questions, I'll answer them. Like, they could ask me anything, like, how old were you when you first started? And I'll say, like, 15. Like, when did you stop? Like, 20, 21, like, like, whatever. And I don't hide it just because, like, those kids ask for personal reasons, because I know that they're trying to see, like, if I'll tell them as in, like, a trust thing, because I trust all those kids. Like, they're my family outside of my family now. Like, all those kids, like, we're a whole. Like, we have kids, like I said, that would stay in their rooms all the time, or they were fighting all the time, or they were in gangs, or their family used to beat on them or whatever, and now, like, they trust us. And it's not only me. Like, we have an incredible staff there, but, like, they trust all of us to be that person for them that they never had. So it's really important, and I think the Wichita Children's Home is, like, absolutely incredible, and I wouldn't want any other job, like, especially right now. Like, I think this is really important, and, like, what I want to do for a long time.
You're going to change so many lives for the better, and I am just, I mean, they can tell that you cared, and sometimes they just want somebody that actually cares, and then, you know, just the fact you're willing to share with them your story, because it gives them hope as well, that they can battle on and battle through, and it's, you know, it's a good success story. So
yeah.
One other thing I mean, you've been doing treatment-wise, the Suboxone is what helped, I think, and then also you talked about mood disorders as well, and that's so important to touch upon as well. Because you have to treat both the addiction and the mood disorder, 100%. And so what did that look like for you?
So I think that one thing a lot of people get wrong is that as soon as you get on Suboxone, your problems are cured, and that is not it. Like, you gotta work on yourself while you're taking that. Like, it helps, like, a substantial amount. Like, it really, truly does. But if you don't got your mental right, like, nothing else will, like, change. Like, you're still gonna be upset. You're still gonna get depressed. You're still not gonna know how to cope with those things. Like, you have to work on your mental, too. So, like, I remember, like, one thing whenever I got sober was like, okay, I'm going to be a lot more open. I'm going to be more, I focus on that like mental aspect of everything, because physically I was okay, because that's what the Suboxone is for, is like the physical withdrawals of painkillers. But the mental, you have to keep that in check as well. And I think that's if not more important than the Suboxone itself. And I think, like I said, I think Suboxone is incredible, and it helped me more than I could ever imagine, but I just definitely think that the mental aspect of everything is very, very important.
Right. And really, there's nobody else that can do it for you other than yourself. So I like the fact that you're always trying to work towards self-improvement and self-exploration and honesty with not just people around you, but yourself, you know, is huge. And the fact that you and your homeboys would ask each other difficult questions of each other. I mean, that's how you learn about yourself, is that somebody's got to ask you really the right question.
And that's the good thing, like, with my family, because, like, my family has dealt with addiction, like, on a family friend, or, like, a family side of it, like, with my mom being an addict. And so, like, whenever they ask me questions or, like, have any inquiries about anything, like, I always tell them, because, like I said, I don't like hiding anything. And, like, my girlfriend, she is very, like, curious, I would say, about everything. And, like, I wasn't with her whenever I was, like, all on my stuff or whatever. So she, like, she sees one version of me and she doesn't know the other version, like the drug addict that fought every day of his life and was affiliated with gangs and shot heroin at work, like a bunch of, like, she doesn't see any of that. She sees, like, the refurbished, clean, like, very nice, like, not angry kind of guy. So, like, I'm still learning things. Like, that's one important thing, like, I would say as well. Like, you're going to have to relearn so much whenever you get sober. And, like, don't think of it as a scary thing. Think of it as, like, a cool thing. Because, like, I remember whenever I would get angry, I would do pills. Whenever I get sad, I would do pills. Whenever I would get mad, I would do pills. Whenever I would feel anything, I would do pills. And now that, like, I'm sober and I'm clean and everything, whenever I get mad, I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And, like, I would freak out. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to go punch my punching bag. Whenever I get sad, I would talk to somebody about it. Whenever I would get flustered, I would sit there and be like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I would talk myself out of those things rather than resorting to the bad thing. And I think that's a very important thing as well. Like, it's just being open with the people that you're close with about everything that's going on, because as much as it is, like, you have to do it for you and only you, you need people to not necessarily rely on, but you need people in your life that'll be like, okay, I can see something's up, like, what's going on. Like, you need those people. You need a support system. And I was lucky and privileged enough to have, like, the most incredible support system. Like, my family and my girlfriend are, like, single-handedly the best things that I could ever ask for. And, like, that's one thing, like, I always get emotional about, is because, like, it's just so weird to think, like, I was so close to, like, not being with them. And, like, not seeing my nephew grow up, or, like, not seeing my sister about to have twins, or not seeing my dad get married, or not seeing all these things. And it's definitely, like, it always chokes me up every time I talk about it, just because it's so, like, it was that close to getting taken from me. But then again, like I said, you can rewrite whatever you want to rewrite. So it's important knowing that. And because if I didn't trust that and knowing that I could rewrite whatever I wanted to, like, I wouldn't see my sister have those babies. I wouldn't see my nephews grow up, like, a bunch of things. So
that's awesome. And I like the fact that you had basically a game plan for every contingency, because you're going to have weak moments, and we all have weak moments. But like you said, you developed a support system, and they would catch you before you got too weak or did something that you knew would be self-destructive. Well, Justin, this is a fantastic story, and I appreciate the fact so much that not only have you turned your life around, but you're going to spend your future turning other lives around, and all those sports and everything. I mean, basically, you're a new life coach basically for so many of these kids, and
yes, sir.
And hopefully your team will be just like Alabama, I imagine, huh?
Oh yeah, roll tide, baby.
Yeah. All right. Well, take care. Thank you again, Justin. I appreciate it so much.
It was awesome, man. All right.
Dr. Lakin is a board-certified family medicine doctor with an emphasis in addiction medicine and over 25 years of experience. For addiction recovery services in the Wichita area, please visit www.centerforchangeks.com or visit samhsa.gov for a national directory of resources and recovery centers in your area. You can also find these links in the podcast description. Thank you for listening to the Lakin Chronicles Road to Recovery podcast. And remember, you've got this.